Young boys pick up these bricks so they can buy bread. One brick costs 2 rubles or 8 cents. They live on this. Pick up bricks, sell them. If they find metal, they sell it too. They need money, they need to survive.
Well, these children, as they grow, they will reflect on the conditions they grew up in, unfortunately. Maybe things will straighten out.
Valid Vakhayev is Kazbek's younger brother. He is an endoscopy surgeon. He works at the Central Regional Hospital in Grozny. To be exact, it's the only functioning section. Most of the hospital buildings are still under construction. For a long time, healthcare in Chechnya has been in a miserable state, and many residents are used to going to the neighbouring Caucasus republics for help. Now, local health professionals are trying to convince them that good medical help is available at home. Valid Vakhayev was not in Chechnya during the war. He was at university, first in Dagestan and then in central Russia. He stayed there to work. His career was going well. A year ago, he decided to return to Chechnya. Valid was not pursuing wealth, however. He came back so that he could help his republic. Valid thinks that patriotism isn't the only factor which motivates Chechen professionals to return. They need to be rewarded financially as well.
Our healthcare system in Chechnya lacks medical professionals. And this problem is still very serious. And we need to work on it. Otherwise, it will look like we have begun to rebuild the healthcare system, but never finished the job.
Alkhan Kala is a village 10 kilometers south of Grozny. Valid and Kazbek Vakhayev and their relatives live here. Before the war, Alkhan Kala was famous in the Northern Caucasus for its large grain warehouse. So far, no one has rebuilt the warehouse, along with many other industrial and agricultural sites. Kazbek is making arrangements with Ruslan Azimov, the guard, about a photo shoot. He used to work here as the head supervisor.
We used to process grain for the whole republic. We prepared grain for milling. All year round, people worked in 3 shifts, unloading trucks, prepared grain and brought it here.
Not too far from the grain warehouse, there is a kindergarten where Zaneta, Kazbek's wife, takes their 3-year-old son, Murat. The old building was destroyed, and the new one isn't ready yet. Classes are taught at a private house, which now has state institution status.
Hello. Here we are. Go and sit down.
Rosa Labastova is a teacher in Alkhan Kala kindergarten. Together with a helper, she takes care of some 20 children in the group.
The principal buys all of the groceries. A cook prepares the meals. A helper serves them. And we take money from the children.
Parents pay around 1,000 rubles or $40 per month for one child. For the locals, it's a lot of money, especially for those with many children.
Because of the consequences of war, the future is unpredictable. I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but I hope for a better future for my children. I'll do everything I can to ensure this.
The older children have classes in the big room. 4-year-old Mustafa is the son of Kazbek's cousin, the only son. His father and uncle were killed when Mustafa was only 3 months old. No one knows who killed them or why. They were gunned down at the gates of their house. Such stories are common here. People try to keep these memories in the remote corners of their minds and move on. Lately, things have been calm in Chechnya. Zaneta Vakhayeva lets her daughter Layla walk to school alone. But even when things were far from peaceful, parents sent their children to school. The pupils felt safer there than at home. Layla Gaudeva has worked at this school for 25 years. She was once a pupil here. She has never left Chechnya. Even during shootings, she tried to stay with her pupils.
We have never closed the school because we knew that every day the children could at least get an education here. Had we closed down the school, it would have been a tragedy for the whole village.
Ayub Alibekov was a first-grade student when the Chechen conflict broke out in 1994. He left the region with his parents. Ayub returned a few months ago to see how his friends were doing, and he didn't leave. He stayed to restore his old school.
My sisters study here now. My wish is that everything will be well with them. I want them to continue studying in a new building. Right now they have 3 shifts, but when they move it, there will be just 2. There will be more space.
At the end of the 90s, thousands of young Chechens had a very different view of the world. They didn't want to create, they only wanted to destroy. Those who survived the war were later considered to have been misled and deceived. The Russian State Duma passed a law granting amnesty to militants who hadn't committed serious crimes. Not only young soldiers laid down their arms, well-known former militants also did this, like the brigade generals Magomed Khanbiev and Artur Akhmadov. After they swore allegiance to Russia, many others followed their example.
I got it straight in my head that we shouldn't fight with Russia but be friends. It's a mighty state.
I have always wanted to be next to Russia, to be in accord with it. I want us to share policies, defense, and other things.
Ramzan Kadyrov believes it wasn't without his contribution that many former militants surrendered and went into presidential service. He led negotiations with some of them personally. In the mid-90s, Ramzan himself was a militant.
I also used to be against the federal troops being here. It was a time when all of our people were against this.
These are the future protectors of Russia, students of a cadet school in the Chechen village Semtoroy. For the most part, these are the children of Interior Ministry soldiers who died in active service, and they have decided to follow in their father's footsteps. They live here, they study and train to become soldiers in the Special Forces troops. Ramzan Kadyrov constantly checks on their studies. He often visits at night, which means the cadets are always prepared.
What's wrong with your hat? Let me fix it.
The cadets don't have any free time. They rarely go home, maybe once a month. They are already paid about 10,000 rubles or $400 a month for their work. Ramzan Kadyrov sees the Chechen Republic as part of the big family which is the Russian Federation. Even in everyday life, he is a strong supporter of the concept of large families. He has 7 children, 4 daughters and 3 sons. President Kadyrov showed his son, Zelin Khan, to the cameras for the first time.
He must be very just. He must be a great patriot, you know? He must love his people, his motherland, religion. He must be right and righteous. Right? We know how to live. We know how to create things. We are not cavemen, as some have tried to present us to the world, to the international community.